top 10 pickups for Maze and Millennia. Yes, this is going to be the list of things that I'd personally keep an eye on. Collector's Rare prices are up on Kongs for what is public right now. I still think we're missing a couple of these along the way. If you want to pick up any of these, please use discount code MCOOL40 on your purchase. It'll knock down a majority of these prices, and you'll be able to get whatever you want from here slightly more affordably, and that's always a good thing. So leave a link down below so you guys can check out the Collector's Rare pre-sales today. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're starting off over here with the Flame Swordsman cards. Now, much like the Gate Guardian cards, if you're feeling like these are going to be an absolute tier 1 madness, no. But I think it's really cool that if you're an anime fan or a collector of things out here, that you're going to have the chance to pick up Joey's latest power-ups out here. Be able to have some fun with it. It's also really cool that Flame Swordsman actually got its own archetype instead of just, being a little splash card that, we had like the blue flames or some of the little stuff along the ages here that needed just a little bit more. And I think, especially turning Salamander into a card, it all feels really, really cool. So I'm super excited that you can now get this stuff. And if Sold ever comes back, well, they were speeding up the process just a wee little bit more, alright, which is kind of crazy. Next up is Bambu. Well, if you've been a player out here, if you've seen the Magispector stuff, it's coming down the pipeline out here, you've known for a little while now that we have Magispector hype, and Bambu has been a very, very expensive card. Alright, and Konami actually did us a huge favor here. They went ahead and they actually reprinted Bambu into a nice, affordable form. So, the biggest takeaway with this is if you're planning on playing any sort of pendulum variants or anything like that, I would make sure that you pick up your Bambus. Alright, cheaper, affordable cards is always going to be one major thing that you need to consider out here. And I think that this definitely checks the marks. Affordability, check. Alright, availability, check. And I mean, you're spending formally like $30, $40 on a playset of these? Like, no thank you. Alright, just for like a mini splash package in some of these decks? That's ridiculous to think about. Next up is going to be Ancient Chant. Now, I want to say that this card had no business hitting the $40, $50, $60 that we were seeing. Konami took note of what was going on with this and said, alright, we need to find a way to make this card cheaper. And Animation Chronicle was the place that they wanted to go ahead and reprint this, which was actually a really good call on Konami's part here. Getting some affordability out of Ancient Chant. Also, they did give it a rarity upgrade, alright? If you're somebody out here that actually wants to play Winged Dragon or Brawl stuff, you can now get the card in Collector's Rare, which I wouldn't say, run out and toss money at the wall, but the biggest thing that you got to consider is higher rarities do make people happy. Even like the lower rarity stuff is now more affordable, which actually is kind of good. I'm actually very happy to see that Konami actually took this into their own hands and actually did very well with this. Next up is going to be the Transaction Rollback. Yeah, Transaction Rollback being one of the crazier cards in this set, but let's call it what it is. You knew the Transaction Rollback was going to be in this set. You knew that you wanted to pick this up. You know that you have the Mayakashi trap interactions, Double Beatrice, actually Virtual World can actually abuse the crap out of this, because guess what? A double dump off of Beatrice ensures that, you're going to have some little insanity along the way with this. I'm not particularly looking too forward to dealing with Transaction Rollback, but it is a top 10 pickup for sure. Especially, if you're looking at like the Labyrinth stuff kind of coming down the pipeline here, you've got to give it a little bit of credit. So Transaction Rollback, it should be on your pickup list if you're playing, something Beatrice, Virtual World, or Labyrinth. If not, you don't have to really worry about it, which is kind of good. Next up is this Photon Delta Wing. Now, this was actually a little bit of a hard decision if I really wanted to put this on the list, but for the Galaxy Photon players out there, if people are going to toss this into immediate bulk, then I think that you're probably going to want to give some consideration to this. So literally on normal summon, you can special summon a Photon Delta Wing from your hand or deck in defense position, and then you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except for light monsters. And then while you control another Photon Delta Wing, your opponent cannot declare an attack. This sets a floodgate condition on your opponent, which is actually pretty good. I like the idea that we actually have a card here that actually can limit your opponent in the interactions. Also, Photon Galaxy, 2 level 4s on the field. Congratulations, you have, start your engines. You're good to go. So let's start, breaking down and seeing what boards that we can actually make. So very, very cool to actually see this. Next up is the DraStic Draw. This is another one of those that this card reads draw cards, and that means that people are going to start losing their crap going, hey, but it's banish all monsters you control, minimum 2. Draw 3 cards. And you cannot normal or special summon the turn you activate this card, except for Cyber's monsters. I think the thing that hurts this card the most is the lock that it puts on you. The fact that, you're limited in your capabilities of only being able to do Cyber's cards, but I can already tell that people are going to be like, but Robbie, it says draw 3. It's going to be good. It's draw 3 on a once per turn, alright? Maybe there will be something out here to this in the future, sure, but this is one of those cards that you do want to keep an eye on, alright? Especially when you can pick them up much cheaper in the very early stages. Yes, I definitely think that this is on my list. Next up is the Ashoka Pillar. Now, this is a huge one because Ashoka Pillar is a broken card in its own right. Literally on special or normal, all right, whatever it's summoned. You get to add an equip spell card from your deck to your hand. Now, let's think about this for a second. Snatch Steal? Oh, any Minkanko spell card that's an equip? Yes, you get access to either, whichever devastating path that you want to go down to punish your opponent with these things. And I think, honestly, that's a major thing to consider out here is Ashoka Pillar just opens up so many doors for equips. And it's also rocked behind its archetype, which, well, being a rock, yeah, it's very interesting. If only Rescue Ace, if only Adamancipator still existed, then we could actually hit this thing and then full combo our opponent even harder. Next up is Rescue Ace Hydrant. Now, this is another one of those no-brainer here. The fact that Konami took Hydrant and said, hey, we're going to make this way more affordable now. We know that, Rescue Ace should not be this expensive. And that also proves that the life on that Duelist pack is now dead, or that side set is now dead. Alright, I think the only thing that really remains is Purely, but that also means that they're not going to do any more reprints for Rescue A stuff. They wash their hands with it, and they're like, hey, we know we messed up. We understand that Emergency was such an insane card. We didn't think that this was going to turn down the path that it did. So, here is our apology. Go on ahead here and, enjoy this, which, I'll accept it. It's a good apology that we can now pick this up and actually have it be available to the public. What a nice little win for everybody out here. Next up is the Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Now, I know I've been hyping this card up, but this card literally is a create a card. Especially, okay, so you have to send a tuner and one non-tuner face up on your field to the graveyard, and you get to special summon both a Synchro monster that could be Synchro summoned and a Fusion monster that could be Fusion summoned using those two monsters. Now, this thing does lock you into Synchro and only fusions for the turn, but I don't really care about that too much. I care about the end result of being able to make this crazier field here with these two cards. It's also the first card that allows you to, technically make you could already make a Synchro just by sending them off, but it also allows you to make the fusion via the potential that you would do. Now, obviously, this is currently locked behind Earthbound, but future card design has taught us many things in this game. There's always the potential for something to break along the way here. And of course, the grand number one is going to be Thrust. Now, I do want to throw this up here and go, hey, Thrust got the reprint. This is a major win to all the budget players out here. If you've been struggling, keeping up with the meta, I know that thrust probably getting cut in half isn't going to help a lot of people, but when you're seeing, half a price tag get shredded, that's an absolute win, all right? And thrust value in this set is going to be absolutely crazy. And number 0, that's right, is Bonfire. I didn't really want to mention Bonfire as number 1, but the biggest thing here is you already know Bonfire is a crazy card. You already know that this is a card that you need to be picking up, all right? Like, this was the no of the set. If you're looking at the set and you're going, wow, Bonfire, crazy. Yes, all right, it's good, but that's just... it's to be expected right now. So what do you think about the pickups from this set? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.